Spare the rod. Get
Spoil
poop in your
the
car.
child.
Hey, man.
Spare the rod, get poop everywhere.
Exactly.
No, this is episode 13.
13.
Yeah.
13, episode 13.
Lucky
There's
13.
something a little bit different
Lucky
about this
13.
one.
Lucky
Lucky 13.
Wow, look at that.
Lucky? No, I thought 13 was like bad
It is.
luck.
Oh.
Yeah, like Friday the 13th. It's like actually.
Yeah,
really
it's
bad.
complete
But it's
opposite.
fine.
Oh, it's
That was
lucky
the joke.
7. but
It's
lucky
actually
5.
That was the joke.
13 is
That was
actually
the joke.
a
Yes.
great number in my family.
This
It
is the
is.
final
It
podcast,
is.
obviously. Episode 13. You know.
It's a wonderful number. In my
I vote that
family.
we skip number 13
Just
and
go
move on to
14?
14.
Oh,
Oh,
So
yeah,
this is
yeah. Like some
podcast number
hotels.
14.
Oh,
Let's
that's
skip the
true.
13th.
Some
Hey, you
people
know
might
what?
not even
Bank
watch
used to do
this
that.
because
That
they're
will-
13.
That will
'Cause
also
it's-
get us to
Wow.
episode 100 quicker so we can quit.
Yes.
Dude, let's just skip.
Dude.
Is that what it is?
I
We
love
putting it
that.
at 100?
right. Oh, we're already to 100.
So congratulations. If you're watching this, you've made
Dude,
episode 100 with us.
100.
Wow.
And it's a
Well
special
done.
edition.
Yeah.
We've got some friends with us.
Yeah.
Some females
Friends.
with us.
More than
Friends.
friends. Wait,
Friends.
We've listened to the
They
rough
are our
scribers.
friends. Yeah, they're sick of just the boys. They want the girls.
They want the ladies.
Welcome, ladies. It's
Thank
nice to
you.
have y'all with
Thank
us.
you.
Yeah,
Glad to be here.
Yeah, but it's Mother's Day edition.
Mother's Day
Yeah.
edition.
Oh, yeah.
Edition.
We figured instead of us just talking about what it's like to be a mom, all the things that are wonderful about it.
Although we'd probably do a heck of a
I
job.
think
I think
boy.
we're ready.
good job.
Put some
Y'all
wigs
talking
on.
about mothers?
Put some wigs on. and
I've watched a
Yeah.
lot of reels about motherhood, so I feel like I could
I feel
really
like pretty much
Definitely
know.
knock it
qualified.
down.
Dude, we could have
Yeah.
put those little pad things
Oh,
that make you.
Oh,
Missed opportunity.
wow.
To feel the
Make you-
So next
contractions?
time we're doing that, we'll be back.
Dude.
Yeah, we
Missed
should have had
Every
that.
Mother's Day.
That's a great idea.
Did
That
someone
is
write
a
that
great
down?
idea.
Yeah.
Jeff.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff,
Thank you.
go ahead and get on that.
Jeff?
I thought his name was John.
I guess it's good to just ask, do you like being moms?
That's a good question.
Is that a trick question?
Go for it. You know?
I think that's the best first question.
That's a
Yes.
good one.
What is your overall assessment of being a mom?
Would you recommend it to others?
On a scale of 1 to 10.
Oh my gosh. There's so
One
many
being
questions.
horrible,
Wow.
10 being absolutely just like out of this world. Yeah, like 10's awesome, 1's horrible. I would never do this
Plead
again.
the fifth.
Oh no, number 5.
Okay.
There it is.
Number 5, right down the middle. Okay,
I
well,
think it depends on the day you ask us.
Yes,
That's a good
That's
answer.
a wise answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think
Depends
it's
on the
I think
day.
it's important that we actually do establish the range that we have here because
That's true.
believe it or not,
Yeah.
we have so if we start from youngest to oldest, Amber and Brent have Rama, and well, I'll let you guys have
Yeah.
everybody introduce their
Introduce.
own kids.
Yes.
We'll start with the youngest, go to the
Yes.
oldest.
Brent and Amber.
Yeah.
Amber, Brent.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have a 2.5-year-old.
Yes.
Name
Rayma
Rayma.
Grace. Yeah. She's crazy. I love her though.
Joel and Christy, we have 3 kids. Is that what we got now? It's too many. I'll just say it.
There's an abundance.
We got too many kids.
They didn't thought you had 4.
Oh my.
No, there's only 3.
So
You take that back right now, Ricky Bobby.
I gotta leave. We got Isaac. How old is Isaac now?
7.
7. We got Everly, who is 3, and tells you every day that she's 3 and very proud to be 3.
Aw.
Yep.
Very
And then we
cool.
have Hendrix, who is a year and a half.
So we are Nadine and Jordan. We have 2 girls. Ari is 11 and Elin is 5. Yeah, she's 5. And
Are we
so
sure?
There was
yeah,
some questions.
I had 4 and 10 down because 10-4, like 10-4, good buddy. And now it's like, what's after 10 and 4? It never works.
They're always, I always remember they're always odd together and then they're always even together.
Yeah.
So 11
Their
and
birthdays
5.
are like
Yeah,
2
that
weeks
works.
apart,
Nice.
so a lot of change within 2 weeks as far as ages go. But anyway, so 2 little girls, that's us.
We are Micah and Ashley, and we've got a 16-year-old daughter. We've got a daughter that in just a couple days will be 15, and then we've got a son that is 12. So that's kind of what our life looks like right now. 16.
I didn't realize Callie and Emma were so close.
They're
Yeah.
very close. Yeah.
Wow.
I also like that you didn't give their names like the rest of us.
Oh, I didn't realize that you
Protecting the
didn't.
identity of your children.
They're at the age where they watch the
Jordan's like-
podcast.
Yeah.
We're saving their identity.
You didn't say it, and
Sorry.
Jordan's immediately like, Emma, Callie, and Sam.
Yeah, Emma's sorry.
Hey, I remember their social security numbers earlier, but is it still?
God.
What's kind of cool about all of our ages here, as far as our kids go, is that we have kids that are literally 2-3 years old, all the way up till 16. And so all those phases, and so we figured we'd just have a conversation about, because conversations are important, right? We should have conversations about the conversations.
Yeah.
And
This is the Mother's Day conversation.
This is a Mother's Day
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah, so
combo.
I feel like we should say Happy Mother's Day, like on the count of 3.
Just the guys or the women too? Or
I
like,
think all of us should do it. You
All
guys
right,
ready?
we have
Yeah,
mothers, too.
yeah.
Happy Mother's Day
That's perfect.
Better, huh?
That's what you get, mothers. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day.
Wow, I'm so glad I have a mom. Yay.
Yeah.
You feel the love.
Totally worth it.
Awkwardly hold a microphone.
So before you guys were moms, did you feel like you were gonna be good moms? Like, did you go into like first kid? Were you like, I'm gonna rock this thing? Like, were you the moms before you had your first kid that you like felt like you knew
great
more than
question.
all the other moms? Like the Facebook groups with the moms who were like. Before they have the kid, they have it all figured out. Did you feel like that, or did you feel like you were like, oh my God, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening?
So I knew at the beginning that I wanted to be a mom. Like, it was like my mom was a stay-at-home mom. She raised us 4 kids. She was always home when we got home from school. And so I knew that's what I wanted to be when I grew up. But having your first child, it was like got thrown a wrench in, and it was like, what are we actually doing?
We have to keep this thing alive.
And especially because in the hospital, they are totally different babies. And then you bring them home, and then they're like, wait, where's the same baby that we had in the hospital? What's happening?
She was
Nurse?
quiet.
Yeah, she was quiet. Yeah. Send her to the nursery.
Where's the button on the bed that the lady comes in and takes her away?
Yes.
This is me.
So the first couple days of having a newborn were pretty tough. But at the beginning, I thought this is gonna be easy.
Yeah.
But it was not.
Did you feel like right before you had, like when you were pregnant with her, did you feel like, oh, I'm going to rock this? Or were you just kind of neutral on
I
it?
thought everything was going to come easy.
Yeah.
Like, I just thought, just breastfeeding and having her home and doing baby life was going to be easy.
Yeah.
But it was all a
not.
learning trial.
Yeah.
Well, I always said I was going to be the cool mom. But
You
I'm
are
not the
cool,
mom.
not the cool
Yes,
mom.
you are. Aw.
I love how Mike is laughing at that.
That's hilarious.
Because you know how when you
Aw.
think about it when you're like a teenager thinking about your future and your life
Yeah.
and kids, I'm like, oh, I'm going to be so cool. I'm going to let him do this and that. And no. It totally changes when you actually have a
Aw.
kid and you're
Yeah.
like an adult and you
Yes.
realize,
Yeah.
oh, wait, they don't need to do all those things.
Aw,
Whatever it
yes.
is.
Okay, I'll be honest. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I thought I had it figured out. Then we had 2 more kids, and I still don't have it figured out. So, I mean, like, if you think about it, with the first kid, I was gonna be this like organic, crunchy mom. Like, they ate all like the perfect
Oh,
fruits
yeah.
and vegetables, like
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
no
yeah.
sugar.
Yep.
Yeah, and then we had the second one, and I'm like,
Do whatever you want.
Eat the cosmic
then-
brownie, please.
Yes.
The cosmic brownie.
Take a bite out of your brother. Just something.
And then the third one, I'm like, here's a granola bar, just
Yeah.
survive. Like,
Yes. Yes.
Survival
Yeah.
mode.
You'll be lucky if I remember to feed you.
All right,
Amber, what about
No,
you?
I was not competent. I was just kind of like, all right, here we go. It's more of like, I'm just going to kind of figure it out. I made it a point before I ever got married or pregnant. I was like, I'm never going to be the mom that says, I'm never going to have my kid do this. Because they always do the
choice.
opposite.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I am not going to do that to myself. And I'm glad I didn't, because there's a lot of things in my head. I'm like, I'm not going to let my kid scream like that. I'm like thinking it to myself. And I'm like,
Oh, your kids
my
will
God.
scream like that.
Rama's like, and they're like, oh my God. And I'm like, we're like on the plane. I'm like, shh, be quiet. It's okay.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, it's fine.
Oh, the
but I still
plane.
figure it out,
Tell us.
every
Tell-
day.
you said the plane.
The plane.
Tell us the plane story.
There's the story. All right.
This
Oh,
is
it's
worth
a good
it.
story.
It's a good one.
Yes.
So Rayma was really into red beans and rice when she was probably about Hendrick's age. It was like a year and a half. And so we were flying to California last year for Thomas's graduation. We're all excited. We're like, yes, this is amazing.
Family
Oh,
trip.
First time
Yes.
Rayma's
out
going to
there.
California.
With all her
gets them-
cousins.
Yeah,
all Ari's
the
sitting next to
Ari's
us,
right.
entertaining
Yeah. Oh
her.
man, it was like
What
literally
should
the
be a
perfect
perfect
scenario.
Oh
moment.
yeah,
Oh yes,
absolutely.
it was so great.
Like a
Well,
Hallmark movie.
like the great mother I am, I fed Rayma red beans and rice because I was like, this will surely keep her
yeah.
asleep on the
Yeah,
plane.
nice and full
Oh,
belly.
nice and full. And then
That
all of a
belly's gotta
sudden, you know, we
empty
get all
sometime.
seated and we're like, okay, look, ooh, Ari, ooh, look, jumping fruit. Ooh, you know, like, oh, this is great. And then I'm like, what in the world? I look down, literally poop everywhere, like everywhere. And I'm like,
We're on
oh my God.
middle of the flight,
We're
by
in the
the
middle,
way.
and I'm in the middle seat, mind you. Okay, so Brent's here, Ari's here, and I'm like, oh my God. And Ari's like, and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah,
I was
Ari
like,
has a-
Ari's useless after that.
Yeah.
She has
She's
a
done.
horrible gag reflex.
I was
Like, it's bad.
I was like, don't look. I was like, Brent, I have to go to the bathroom, right? So I go to the small little airplane bathroom and I open the diaper. Beans.
Oh.
Everywhere.
The shell of the bean. When I tell you there was probably like 1,000, there was 1,000 like all the way up her back. And I was like, and I look at my shirt, all down my shirt. And I was like,
Oh yeah.
this is a wonderful time to be a mother. I love it. This is great.
The old.
And
Can
so,
I get
yeah.
out now?
I cleaned her up and
Drop me
I
off
still
here.
smelled like poop, you know, as we got to California. I'm like, what's up, guys? I got poop all over my shirt.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to be here.
The old re-poop beans diaper, huh?
Needless to say, I stopped with the red beans and rice.
Yeah,
Should've.
we were
I was
way
like,
back
you
in
know
the
what?
plane, like, I don't know, 20
We
rows
didn't know
back.
what was happening.
But we could hear,
Yeah.
like, we're just like,
Yeah.
Somebody
Yeah.
shut that kid up.
I put my noise canceling AirPods back in.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know, I can't
Someone
go up
entertain
there.
this kid. Oh, you have to poop. That makes sense. Your stomach hurts.
Oh yeah,
It's full of beans.
She passed out after
She
that.
sure did. She was
Oh,
asleep the rest of the
yeah.
flight.
And that's
so
what
it
I do.
actually worked.
It did. So I mean, in theory, I was
We're
right.
just wrong
but
timing. We
just-
should have did it a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she could like poop her brains out before. You know, poor thing.
That wears her out. you
Sorry,
know?
Rama, if you're listening to this when you get older. Just exposed you.
Remember,
Sorry.
18 years canceled episode.
I'm sorry.
Hey, Siri.
That's fun. So like, okay, so that's what age was Rayma?
Probably like a year and a half.
Okay.
Surely.
So like, I'm just curious with you moms, was there or is there an age that you think this is the perfect age for kids? Like, I can't wait for like, what's the best age for your kids to be in your house? Like, what is that perfect age that you can't wait to be a mom for? Or
I'm
has it
still
already happened?
waiting.
Don't listen, guys.
Take
Don't
that,
listen.
Sam.
Don't listen. Don't listen. Don't listen. Don't
No
listen.
wonder she's not the cool mom.
Oh.
No, I'm enjoying 2.5. I really am. I mean, she has her tantrums. I mean, she's 2.5, but I really do enjoy it. I just like seeing her personality like just come out, and she's like talking more, and it's really cool. I mean, I just kind of take each day.
Yeah.
Each day, and I try to enjoy it because I know I'm like, man, this is the last time she's gonna do this. You know, like if I get annoyed or like I'm aggravated at what she's doing, I'm like, this is literally the last time she's ever gonna annoy me by saying, "Mom, mom, mom," because she's gonna get older and then she's not gonna maybe want to be around or think I'm cool or you know, like not be like, "Oh, mom, like I love you," you know what I mean? Like she will. You know what I'm saying?
Is that how you got through the plane incident?
That is exactly. I was like,
This is the
I am
last
so
time.
happy right now.
Little change of tone. This is the last time.
That's a different
That was more
last
of a
time.
threat.
That's a different
Yeah.
last time.
No more red beans.
If you
But
do.
it's true. I have to think that way or I'll get aggravated so many like all the time. I mean, my gosh, I mean they're little monsters.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy 2.5. I'm enjoying that
So
now.
2.5 is the best
It's
season.
pretty rad right now.
I think 3-year-olds have been a hard season for us just because Everly now has like her own little personality and attitude, and she is sassy. Like,
Who is she like, you or Joel?
I have no idea who she
Okay.
like me.
Joel, don't
I
answer.
think she makes
Don't
my
answer.
Joel
This is
faces.
a trick
Definitely like
question.
me.
Yes. So sassy. If there's
Mother's
one
Day
word that
podcast.
describes Joel, it's sassy.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I feel like 4 was a really good age with Isaac.
I agree. 4 was good. I like where Isaac is now, though. That's a good age.
7 is a good age, but like you said, he doesn't need me as much anymore. And now he has his own friends. And so I'm not the cool mom anymore. Like he doesn't really want to hang out with me or do anything. As soon as he gets home, he does his homework and he's gone.
All right, Nadine or Ash, same question.
I mean, I was joking earlier, but honestly, man, every stage is fun in a way. Every stage is tough in a way. But I mean, right now, having teenagers is really fun. It's fun seeing all your years of toil and labor kind of start to, you see their personalities, you see who they're going to be, what they want to be when they grow up. They start making some big decisions at this
Yeah.
age. So it's been really fun.
Yeah.
And you have not quite friends yet, but close. You're getting there. There's the finish line.
Was that a conversation at our dinner table the
yes,
other
last
night?
night. Just last night, I think, with Emma.
I think we asked the kids, what age can we become friends?
Aw.
And Emma was quick to say 16. She's 16. She's like,
Yellow whale.
we
16
can do it
now.
now. We can do it
Now.
now. But yeah,
Aw.
yeah.
I'm gonna say 4 to 5. I feel 4 or 5 is a good age. I mean, we're still in the wiping butt stage with Elin, but yeah. I mean, Elin's just way more independent. She just wants to do a whole lot by herself, which is it's fun. She only wants to do it by herself when we're like in crunch time, where it's like, hurry up, let's go. It's just like, no,
Yeah,
I want
we're
to.
leaving. She's like,
Yes.
I'm gonna sit down and actually build this entire Lego thing right
Yes.
now. Haven't done it in 6 months.
Yes.
It's been in a box, but right now we're gonna go ahead and unpack it.
Yes, or get herself dressed and put her clothes on and her shoes, and it's like, we have 5 minutes and we have to leave. Let me just get you dressed. But yeah, I mean, she's just a little bit more independent, so I say 4 and 5.
We haven't got to the tweener, like the real tweener.
Mm-mm.
Actually, it's funny. Last
Almost
night
there.
I said,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah.
I literally told Nadine last night. I said, you know, she's going to 6th grade, and I was like, I really think that this, like, I think in like this school year, I think it's going to change. Like, I really, you know, and but Ari's she's personality wise, she's pretty calm, chill. Like, you know, she's really kind hearted. She doesn't have a bad temper. Like, she's really, she honestly is like a really good kid. And Elin, who knows? We'll see about her. But I'm a big fan of 4 to 11 because I mean, I have, you know, seen some kids that get to the tweener stage and it's like, oh God, no. But I know it's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, for me personally though, like I'm a big fan of like 10-ish because they like have fun, but like they can think and joke. Like I'll give you one small example. It was about 6 months ago, or maybe 8, maybe a little bit longer than that now. But we were in here watching a movie that was like one of our. Like, it's like an older funny movie. I can't remember which one it was. But anyway, it was a little bit older. It was like PG-13, and like it was like a comedy. Well, some of this stuff, like it's humor that like you have to get sarcasm.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like 7-year-old comedy. So Ariana was watching the movie with us, and there was a joke that like it's an adult joke, not like, you know, perverted joke, but like an adult, like you got to be thinking about it. And she got that joke and started laughing like for real. And I was like, this is amazing. Like
That makes it even funnier for you, too.
yeah,
You
dude,
know?
I was laughing at her. I'm like, I mean, she was like holding her belly. It was like she got like that level of humor, you know. So stuff like that's cool. But yeah, but she's still, you know, she's still young and innocent. So
It's funny. I always have all these like random thoughts that I want to ask. So I'm curious, has there been a moment where, and this is for everybody, so I mean, be as vulnerable as you want, but like, has there been a moment where you felt like a failure?
Oh God.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I figured
Today.
that would be the response, but like, was there a moment where it was just, it was hard, and then how are you actually navigating that?
I immediately thought of, actually, you were in on this, and Jordan, you were too. I don't know if you remember this. You kind of were. It was with one of my kids who shall remain nameless because they'll see this and listen to this. Very, very strong-willed. They were about 3, maybe, and I had all 3 kids, all under like 5 years old. I went to like Kmart. I don't even think that's there anymore. Years ago. And anyways, I don't know what happened, but my one kid out of the 3 would not listen. And I was trying to get them into the car, and they were screaming in the parking lot. Everybody started looking at me like I was being really, really bad to my kid. So I didn't know what to do. It went on for like 30 minutes, screaming in the parking lot. I had to call you. You were at work. And I had to call you to come help. And I sat down. I was like, I can't even control my 4-year-old, like, or 3-year-old. What am I doing? Like, how am I going to raise these 3 kids? They're going to be terrible. They're gonna end up in jail. Like, I was going there, you know? And no one's in jail. Great kids. But yeah, that moment, I had to reevaluate everything because what I was doing wasn't working, apparently. I had to have a heart-to-heart with my mom.
Yeah.
I could trust her and talk with her, so it was really nice. But do you remember that? had to
do.
come and rescue me. And I think
do.
you were with him.
Yeah,
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
together.
I was like, I'm so sorry, but I can't. I can't.
Yeah.
I needed help.
So you reached out for help.
It was just hard. That was humbling for me personally.
I don't have like a specific moment. I think I kind of feel it every day. If that's terrible, it's true. Like, it's just like, man, I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, am I doing it right? You know, it's more of that question. Like, am I actually doing it right? But then like when we watch Raymo like interact with other kids or with Elin and Ari, you know, and I'm like, okay, okay, there's some relief there. I'm like, okay, she's not as terrible as I think she is being, you know, like not in a bad way, but it's like, man. And I'm like, I don't know. I think it's just a thought of like, am I doing it right? I don't know. I feel like that. I feel that every day. I'm just like, Lord help me, because I just want to make sure I'm like, am I teaching her the right things? Like, am the way that I'm acting, like I see now as she gets older, she's copying me a lot. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you see, like, oh my gosh, now I really got to watch what I'm doing in the way that I'm acting. And so I'm like, well, am I acting right? And so I'm like, man, am I failing in the way that I'm acting and teaching her how to be a woman, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like how to actually like interact with my husband and like her future husband. Like, am I actually doing that? Like, if we get in an argument in front of her, she comes up, she's like, no, stop yelling, Mom. Stop yelling, Dad. And
Goes
then
up to
so
both of us.
both of us, and
Oh
she
my
comes
God.
up, and I'll have
literally
to
stop.
apologize
Yeah.
and like say, no, I'm sorry, Daddy. I'm sorry, Mommy.
Yep.
You know, and so like stuff like that, I'm like, okay, well, obviously she's learning a little something, but it's like, I guess it comes out in the way that she acts. Obviously, but yeah, I think it's just a little bit every day. It's like, okay, I hope this is right. You know, like failing forward, I guess. Like, I don't know. So,
Well, our oldest has always been very strong-willed, but I feel like as he's getting older, we've like learned more, like a better way to parent him. So it's more as we've been learning with him as he grows. His love language is what, like attention, basically. Or physical touch. And so we've learned those types of things. And that's helped a lot too, where we haven't had as many like outbursts or breakdowns. Now he still will throw a tantrum from time to time, but I really feel like it's just been us growing with him.
Mine came when it was postpartum. So it was literally a week after I had Ari, and we had spent a night at his parents' house. It was national championship. LSU did just lose the national championship, so that might have had a part in it.
Lots of emotions.
A lot of
Those
emotions.
things matter.
So we were literally coming home, and our ride home was 2 minutes.
Yeah, literally.
And on the way home, I just started crying and telling him I'm failing as a mom. I can't do this. Like, I can't even feed my child correctly. And
We
just-
actually we drove home
yeah,
and I carried Ariana in the little seat, and we walk into the house, and I mean we had a really small entrance to that. I mean, get out of the car, walk in. I'm like, oh, put her down, and I stand up and I turn around, and she's standing there, and I'm like, first thing I think is, what did I do?
That's a good first response.
What did I do this time? I don't know what I did.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry
yeah.
for
Yeah.
everything.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry.
But
Yeah,
she was like, I feel like a failure. Literally, like said.
yeah, it
feel
was
like
just
failure.
I just felt like I wasn't doing motherhood right. And so I'm pouring all this stuff out to him, and he's like, Nadine, you've literally been a mom for a week, like just a week. And now going back, I realized that it was postpartum, like that. It's your emotions, your hormones,
rough.
and all this stuff, getting into place. And so, anyways, he was like, "It's okay. We got a lot of time to raise this little girl, and there's gonna be good days and there's gonna be hard days." And he's like, "Let's just every day's a new day." And I was like, "Okay, all right,
Yeah.
let's go."
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, now reflecting back, I know postpartum is a big deal, but properly handling it right and talking
Yeah.
to your spouse and
I think the
sharing.
big thing, I was telling you this, but it was also like I think it was for us. I think I think we kind of carried it into a lot of different parts of her life too. I was like, she's a week old and she's going to be like she is right now for maybe 3 months, and then there's going to be another phase. So we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
But there's going to be another phase after that, and then we'll figure that out. And then we're just going to figure it out every time. There's going to be problems, and we'll fix those problems and learn. And then What's annoying is like by the time that you learn, it's already going to the next one.
Yeah.
And
It's like
so-
right when you master it,
Yeah.
you're like,
Yeah.
yo, I figured this out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I figured this kid out. We're working. All of a sudden, shift.
True. You got one good
Yeah.
week. You're like,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
we
Right.
finally got it
Yeah.
figured
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
We should write a
changes.
book.
Yeah, we're
Oh,
such good
jeez.
parents. New parents, come talk
So
to us.
we-
We'll tell you how.
So this is what we did. So we Ari was probably about, I don't know, 14, 15 months, something like that. And I mean, we read a. It sounds funny. We read a book. Everybody reads a book, but we read a book before, like right when we had Ariana, and it was about getting them in a schedule, but not too strict of a schedule, kind of thing, and getting them to sleep on their own and all that kind of stuff. So like within 6 weeks, man, she was sleeping in her room by herself, like all basically all night. You know what that means whenever you have a newborn. I mean, all nights like you only had to wake up 2 times. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so we're like, man, we got it. And then we really, Ari was really easy. And a lot of, well, we get to like 14, 15 months. We're like, this is like, I remember us saying like something like, this is really not that hard. Like, I mean,
Right.
and we got like overly confident. And we were like, I think we can have another one.
Then the second
that
kid comes in
sweet?
and humbles
Well,
you.
yeah, it
real
was
quick.
that sweet moment where we were just like, oh, we could do this
Yeah,
again.
we're like, let's just wait a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Well, then all of a sudden, I think it was about 18
Oh,
months.
gosh,
It was about 18
yes.
months, maybe 20 months more up in there.
A light switch
Like
went
one
off.
day she woke up and it was like, demon child. She's just like, I have a will now and
Yes.
I'm going to control you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
I know
was
what
like-
you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's good.
Exactly.
Very
And all of a
great.
sudden you had that moment where you're like, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. You know, I love you so much, but I also don't want to see you very often.
I will kill you
Metaphorically speaking.
in a loving way.
Exactly. That's how I feel right now.
I don't know what it means either, but I'm real confused.
So what I was kind of thinking about was we're all in the phase of life where we are, we're past the married with no kids phase, and we're all in the married with kids phase. And one thing about that is that it just feels like your kids are always going to be with you. I saw this graph the other day, and it said what you think happens as a parent, and it said like marriage, and had like a little space, and it was like kids, and then it was like the bar was like another color, and it was like kids. It was like death. Like basically the kids are with you like till death. And it said what life actually is, and it was like marriage, like a little bit of time, and then it was like kids in the house a little bit of time, and then it was like kids out the house was the vast majority
Making me
of
sad.
the time.
It does.
And I was looking at it, and I was thinking, I feel like the girls are just always going to be here, but then all of a sudden I have to snap back and realize like Ari's 11. Okay, let's just go with the typical, kind of 18 narrative, whether she leaves at 18 or whether she stays till she's 20, I don't know. But let's just say 18. I mean, it's literally 6.5 years from now.
Yeah.
2 years for y'all.
We only got 2 years.
I know.
Yeah.
Y'all are like,
You
you're
got
talking
married
like
at
college
18.
and stuff. So all of a sudden, you quickly start realizing the conversation of you're going to know your kids as adults a lot longer than you will as kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so then another kind of ties to another statement, which is, hopefully we're raising our best friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The people that know us the most,
Yep.
kids know their parents the most. I think it's why the Bible says honor your father and your mother, because
Completely agree.
you're going to have to honor them because you're going to know them
Right.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
well, and you're going to be able
True.
to pick them apart.
Yeah.
But so you have to look at your parents with as much grace as you do anybody else.
Yeah.
That's
So
great.
honor your
That's
father
good.
and mother. But so raising kids, right now we're their parents, and we'll always be their parents. But there's a change
Yeah.
at some point where you go from like parent kid relationship to like parent kid relationship to like friend peer to a certain extent, and hopefully there's an honor, that they have
Yeah.
for you
Yeah.
as a kid. But when they are in the house, towing the line between friend and child. I mean, obviously y'all are the oldest.
Yeah.
So y'all would have the most
We're
experience.
not that much older.
Well,
Come
no,
on.
your kids are the
Kids
oldest. That's
are
what I
the
meant. Yeah.
oldest.
Slow your roll, Jordan. Okay?
Hold on.
What's funny is, with boys, boys begin to flex their muscles and like become a man internally and act like a man. and then girls are man, they're young women, and then they become women. And there's times that we correct language that isn't honoring, and that's just going to be anywhere. But I think a temptation that feels right in the moment, that like is to be friends when they're really young, because actually it's easier. It's easier for the parent.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's like, and it's easier for the kids in the moment. And what I mean by easy is there isn't as much resistance and friction, is because, and we're all being friends. I mean, I'll let you do what you want. I'll leave you alone. I'm not gonna check your phone. I'm not, like all those things.
That goes back to what I was saying before I had kids. I'm going to be the cool mom.
Yeah.
Then no, that's not how it
And
works.
what that meant when you're younger probably is I'm gonna let my kids do what
cool
they
stuff.
want.
Yeah.
And then you
Because
get
I
old.
couldn't do what I wanted, so I'm going to let my kids do what I want,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I don't let my kids do what I want. We're very strict
You know,
according to them.
I think that came. I think there was a phrase when we were entering as a teenager. I remember with the oldest, with him, we were like, "Wow, 13. This is weird. This is crazy." But there was something that I'm sure we saw it somewhere. It wasn't an original thought, but we went in expecting for our kids to hurt us, and what I mean by that is for them to fail, and for whatever reason, we can build up this idea that our kids aren't going to be those kids, or they're going to mess up, or they're going to do wrong. And then what happens is when they do, it becomes a family crisis. And we went in expecting failure, and really with the mindset of sin that they're going to commit or do is going to have a penalty attached to it. We wanted to be ministers of grace in our house, and we wanted to show them how to respond when they failed. But also we're learning more and more that our kids are becoming tools of sanctification in our own life. It's teaching us how to be better Christians and people through the way that they live, and we're trying to do the same for them. And the only way that can happen is, it's funny, we're getting more and more friendly. We are. I mean, I'm thinking about our oldest, like we just have fun. We really do. And there's just a lot of, we realize we're in the launching phase of one of them. We are. I mean, we're that's where we're at.
That's what it's all about, right?
Right.
But then when you
Yeah.
get there,
Oh.
it's like,
You want to hold
no.
on.
Yeah.
I mean,
Not
your dad,
already?
Pastor Van, said
Yeah.
forever it's
Yeah.
like flying a kite.
Yep.
And I didn't understand that analogy until I understood the analogy.
Yeah.
And the temptation is to either let it all out and they'll crash and burn. They will. If we give too much freedom to our kids too early.
Right.
And freedom, it's kind of silly, because freedom is like, it's different for every family. So I'm not going to put like things. Yeah, I will. Phones, checking certain things, curfews, times that certain things got to be turned in, like all those checks and balances that we put in. Like, it would be easy in our house to just cut the strings of all that and just let them do anything that they want. But they will crash and burn, because there's no governor inside of them yet, or it's being developed still. But the other side is, we could hold that string so tight that the moment they can make their own decisions, they'll make the wrong decisions, because it's just, I can do whatever I want.
Or they won't know how to make any decisions.
Yeah.
Because we make everything for them.
And we are that family still that says things like, hey, this is what our home does. It doesn't matter if other church kids, which is unique. But
Well, I think one thing as you were talking, I was thinking about was that as kids get older, 15, 16, then all of a sudden 17, 18, they start feeling like adults. And in our culture, it's like 18, 16, you get your license. 18, it's like, I can go to the military, dude. You're like, but emotion wise, experience wise, just because they've gotten taller or whatever, or they're launching into life, it doesn't mean that they are ready to literally go out on their on their own at 16. Like, they're close, but even after they're launched, you're still parenting. You're still parenting. It's just because I think about that scenario, not as far as me with my kid, but me with my parents.
yeah,
That's how I always correlate that phase of life, until one day, whenever we've launched our kids, and I could kind of see it I'll see it from a different perspective. But when I was 16, me and my mom had our relationship. We always had a good relationship. And then we were 16. All of a sudden, one day we have like this come to Jesus moment, and she's just like broken, about our relationship. And I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Well, what was going on was I was launching, like I was starting to launch. I had my license. I'm starting to hang out with my buddies. Like I don't want to be at the house on the weekends, type of thing. But for her, you're talking about Isaac, and I was thinking about that, except in a few years, that's what was going on just at the 15, 16 mark, and I was the first boy, but I was the third kid. So the other two girls,
You were the
they had
baby.
I was the baby.
Yeah.
And so, it was affecting her differently.
Right.
And so she might've been trying to hold on too tight. And my dad, three other brothers, and just, he was launched when he was 12, basically, to a certain extent. He was like, well, Jan, he's a boy, like let him go, But there was even tension there. And
He's a grown man. Kick him out.
Start paying rent. Come on.
Get a job. Yeah.
So
There is differences between raising boys and girls.
Right.
It is. And, and also just kid to kid. Like I'm listening
Christy
to
said that well earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, like you've
gotta
all
know
kind
your
of
kid.
alluded to learning your kids or our kids' personalities.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because like similar to y'all, the first kid was fairly easy. And we were like, we figured this thing out. And so went with the cookie cutter mentality. Oh, just do the same thing, same way to this kid. And it was like, this ain't working.
Mold's not working.
Yeah, this
Something's wrong with this kid. I know my equation works.
broken.
Yeah, so how did you learn your kids?
I think for us, a big thing was understanding that's the only chance that we had. Like if we didn't learn our kids, like, we were screwed, because everything we were trying to do based on how we grew up and things we heard from friends, like it can all be good advice, but your kid is your kid. It's not somebody else's kid. And so they have their own weird things. And if you don't learn it, man, like you don't have a shot to parent them well and do it good. So it was, for us, it was a moment of humility to be like, all right, clearly what we're doing isn't working. So let's just evaluate and see. And it gets so much easier when you don't feel the need to be the perfect parent. I think that's the other big thing. It's like, all right, I'm going to do all these things and it's going to look really good. It's like, nah, man, I don't know what I'm doing. And the more you talk to other parents and you get in those real relationships, you learn like, oh, you don't know what you're doing either? Like, oh, cool.
We can
Good,
be friends.
good, okay.
Let's be friends.
None of us
Yeah.
know? Cool. Let me ask my kid, how do I parent you?
Help
do that.
me.
GPT. How to be a good parent.
There it is.
How to parent.
Yeah, so
help.
I think humility is a big part of learning your kid, because
Absolutely.
it's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
I think it's that what you were saying too. I was just thinking about how that's actually loving your kid. So, I was just raised a certain way. I'm just applying this template to my kid, and this is what it's all. That's easier for the parent.
Yep.
Which is selfish, because it's like I'm just applying this template.
Yeah.
It takes a whole lot more grace, love, humility to say I was wrong. Ask your kid for forgiveness. That's
Right.
a
Dude,
real
that's a huge
Yeah.
deal. When I started doing that with Isaac, it was so painful, but
It
it
is
did
painful.
so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
it grew our parenting ability so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
We were able to,
Yeah.
to step inside and be like, hey, man, we got that wrong. Like,
Yeah.
Yep.
our bad.
No matter how young they are either,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they know
yeah.
when it's
I've had
like
to apologize to my
you
3-year-old.
yeah, no,
It's
and you
ridiculous.
can tell a difference in their behavior too when you actually say, you know what, Rayma, I'm really sorry. Mommy shouldn't have said that. I've really outburst and I'm sorry. And she's like, it's okay, mommy. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's okay, okay.
It's also cool when they say it back to you, though. When they turn
Yeah.
around and say, "I had a bad attitude, and I'm
Yeah.
sorry for acting like that."
Yeah.
When did they start
Yes.
doing that?
Everly will.
When do I say that?
No chance.
She does apologize.
Yeah.
So does Isaac.
Yeah, so it's loving. It takes more time, takes more effort,
Yeah.
and in some ways, you very quickly are realizing that you start realizing how you were raised.
I think that's what's so beautiful about marriage is that you've got that from both sides. So you've got the way that I've grown up and the way that he's grown up, and we can
Yeah.
look at that and say, you know what, I liked this and I liked this. Let's tweak it and make it like us. And we're like, that's what we want Rayma to be like.
How have you guys, ladies, moms, how have you incorporated faith into raising
That's a
your
good one.
kids?
We do yoga every night.
Yoga.
Yoga.
Shout out to the last episode.
We have a book. It's called The Gospel, and we read that to her every night. And it literally, it's just, bite-sized pieces. And she's actually reciting it back to us. And it just starts from the beginning, and it says God and then man and rebellion, redemption, and all this stuff. And she's like, baby Jesus. And like she said all that, which is really cool. And I mean, we pray for her every night, of course. And, but in the mornings, I like to let her see me reading my Bible. Even though she's watching Baby Shark or she's doing something else, I sit there, and sometimes I'm like she'll come up, she's like looking at me, and I'm like, do you want mommy to read to you? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, cool, and then sometimes she's like flipping the pages and trying to knock the book up, and I'm like, okay, whatever, it's fine, but I just try to let her see us live our lives.
We're the same too. We do we pray every night. But just like Amber said, it's just everyday things, obviously going to church, and we lead small groups here at home. Is it small group night, or it's never a question if we're going to church. Elin is at the age where she is able to be in first Wednesday prayer and worship with us now, and so she's experiencing hearing Daddy preaching and leading worship.
I think that home life is obviously important, and so since you're talking about that, I'll just really quick I'll plug in the church side of things. The church life. I think that attendance to church, not to church, the house of God with the people of God, and prioritizing that is one of the. It's like the second step. If the home life is horrible, the parents go to church, but there's no representation of that at the home. That's horrible. But if there's no meeting together with the people of God, you're missing so much in your kids' development of what they get exposed to,
I agree,
and all that kind of stuff. And so with Ari, she's 11. So you kind of have these tiers, these tiered of understanding, like these seasons of understanding. And I am pretty committed to not try to force my kids to accept Jesus, or I say this lightly, to recite things in a way that isn't connected to a heart revelation. And not that I have any judgment for anybody that does that. I'm saying just for me, and it's probably a little bit of gun shy just from being a PK, I don't want to create a robot. My parents didn't do that for us. They didn't.
Yeah, we're very similar. We had I'd consider it a win with Isaac recently. We're bring your favorite book to school day, and the first thing we grabbed was his Bible. And we're like, let's go.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
We're doing something right. Yeah.
I've been the same way as a PK. Is and my parents, same thing. They didn't pressure me into anything, but I don't want. I've seen other people do it to their kids, and I do not want to force feed the gospel. I want to feed them the gospel, but I don't want to force feed it to them. And so that's been it's a weird tension to manage internally. But when small things like that happen, or you have those conversations about Jesus, it's like, okay, this works. I'm getting it right. Because there are days where it's like, should I do more? Should I push the envelope here more? And then you have those small nuggets where they're like, no, what you're doing is good. Keep doing that.
We've done a lot of the same stuff. But as our kids, just as they've gotten older, we've had lots of moments where we've had to really take the time and explain things, because they have some very deep questions as they get older. Just to warn y'all, as y'all have already found that out, I'm sure. But about hot topics y'all have discussed in the past, and things that they see at school and their friends, and wherever, movies and different things. There's a lot of tough questions to answer, but I know that Mike has done it really well, is taking the time, stopping. Even if you're in the middle of laundry and dinner and all these different things, just got to stop. Take 10, 15 minutes, sometimes hours, honestly, and have those conversations and be honest and real. And that's kind of how it's where we're at right now. And as our kids are getting older and having to make some tough decisions about what they want to do with themselves as they get older, and all those crazy things you have to think about, maybe we go back to prayer, Yeah, you should really talk to God about this too. Yeah, I know what you want to do, but talk to God.
Yeah.
And the Lord willing, because we've modeled this throughout the years, they'll actually do that. That's the plan, right?
If you can go back to the moment you realize that you're pregnant with Ari, with Rama, with Emma, with Isaac, and if you can give a brand new mom words of advice, what would you tell yourself?
I feel like it would be, don't put as many expectations on yourself. I really feel like I put a ton of expectations because, I mean, I'm surrounded by some wonderful mothers. Like, I mean, my God, you know, I've been married into the family. I mean, Nadine, she's just awesome, you know, and I'm like, man, I am not them. You know what I mean? Yeah. I am, God created me exactly how I am. Like he knew that I was going to be Rama's mommy, you know, and it's like, I don't have to be them. I have to be me and figure it out and figure Rama out and figure out how to be, you know, mommy and daddy with Brent and, you know, and make sure that dynamic is healthy, but also make sure that we're taking care of Rama. And so I just put in the very beginning and still kind of now, I put these expectations on myself. Like I have to be not even perfect. It's just, I have to be somebody else, you know, because, oh man, not thinking, oh, they have just as many problems or just as many insecurities, you know, as I do. But, you know, from the outside looking in,
Raymond
it's
needs
like,
you.
Right,
She
right.
needs the you version of you.
Right. And
that's awesome.
I would tell myself, I know it's only been 2.5 years, but I would go back and be like, it's all right, girl. You know, just be you and be Rama's mommy and have a good time and enjoy every moment.
My first thought was I would tell myself, I guess, to relax. It goes along right with what you were saying. Yeah. Just relax. Like it's okay. And ask for help. I was so ridiculous. Why did I ask for help? Even y'all, like it was so bad. Even in the hospital, I refused pain medicine after I had Emma because I didn't want it. Wow. Isn't that ridiculous? Yes. Now with Callie, I was like, bring it on. Bring it on.
Callie, the pain medicine came quick. I ain't doing this again.
Yeah. Like, don't be so, like, I guess it goes with what Amber was saying. I had all these expectations of, I don't even know where this came from. Who knows?
I feel like for me, it's like kind of the same thing. It's okay if things don't go as planned. Because I feel like I had this plan for my life and it didn't exactly go that way, and things have changed with each kid, and like I had to be okay with things changing and for the plan to change as the years have passed. And then the other thing is you can't break the baby. I feel like with Isaac, I was so scared with every single thing, like careful to hold his head correctly. I hated changing his diapers because he screamed. He screamed the whole time. Like it just was like every little thing. Like I was so afraid. And then with Everly, I'm like, oh, she'll be fine.
I'm just going to shout out to moms that are having infertility issues. Just the long time that it took for us to have Ariana and Elin was very difficult, but it will happen, and it will happen in God's timing. You just got to give it to him. And just like Paul said, you will hear those pitter patters through your hallways, and we
pitter patter those little feet in the hallway.
Yes, and we do, and we love it. So it took us a while to have Ari and Elin, but just give it to God. That's what I would tell myself back then. Just give it to God.
Well, I think we should transition into the funniest mom moment that you've had.
So back in the day, I mean, Ari's 11 now. I had just had her, and I didn't know that you lose hair with being pregnant. I don't know if y'all did, but patches of hair. And back then, I would do the little poof in the front, you know? And so little hair was up with the little poof. And I remember doing it after I had Ari, I'm sorry. And Jordan looked at me and he said, Nadine, you've got bald spots. And I'm looking in the mirror and I'm like, what? Like, what's happening? So, of course, you know, I put it down and I'm scary. Like in tears. And I'm just like, what? Like, I didn't know this happened. Like, what's going on, you know? So, luckily, I was in a small group. It was, I think it was called Your First Year. And so it was all the moms that had just had babies within their first year. And it was actually Mandy Alliston that was hosting. And I went with some other ladies that just had babies. And I'm sitting there and we're just talking about just babies and life and stuff like that. And one mom ended up saying something pertaining to hair. And I was like, has anybody else here like lost their hair? And I'm like pulling it back, and they all pulled their hair back. And I'm like, oh my gosh,
That's hilarious.
it's not just me.
That's awesome.
They all start crying.
It's crazy.
I don't know. There's Rayma's personality is funny, so she always does all kinds of stuff. I don't know. I like when she acts like Shark Dog. That's funny. It's like a show on Netflix. Yeah, we have to call her Shark Dog. So that's
we
pretty
were at
funny.
church the other day. Church was done, and
Yeah.
like basically everybody's gone. And Brent, you were already gone, I think, or you weren't
Yeah.
in there. It was just Brent and Rayma. And we're about to leave, and all of a sudden, she's down there doing something on the ground, and Brent's like, "Yeah, come on," or something like that. Like, let's go.
Come on,
And I was
Shark
like-
Dog.
And I was like, "What's going on?" He's like, "She's Shark Dog." I was like, "Oh,"
It's
and
a
she's
thing.
like on all fours. Like,
Yeah, and she pants. It's
We're
hilarious.
not going to affirm this forever.
No, she's not.
This is not her identity.
not
We
forever.
know.
It's not our identity, right?
It
This
is
is not her
not.
identity.
Only when we
Nowadays-
need her to eat chicken.
Nowadays,
No,
I
it's
just
like,
want her to eat some chicken.
It's funny though when you're another parent and you see that, you're like, oh yeah, Shark Dog.
Yeah, I totally-
Get it?
Yeah,
When you don't
yeah,
have kids, you're
absolutely.
like, oh my god,
Like, that's
how are they
so
raising
weird.
that
wrong with your
kid?
kid?
I remember my it was Callie. I'll say her name. my middle
Sorry,
my middle
Callie.
skittle.
Name drop.
Whenever she was, God, you remember how old she was? You know what I'm gonna say. She was like a baby,
Diapers.
like in diapers. Like she was walking, but she was little. I don't know what. Anyways, so I don't want to disclose too much info, but she had a few little issues when she was a little baby with going to the bathroom and things. So it was a little struggle for the first few months. And so every time you would change her diaper, you'd have to kind of pay attention, whatever, just to preface all this. So I'm sorry, Callie. But so a few months into it, okay, let me back up. I'm telling the story before I can actually tell the story. So I was changing her diaper, and I noticed at the time what I thought was her intestines coming out of her body.
Dang.
And obviously, complete freak out mode.
Yeah.
Called Micah. He's like, call the doctor. So I called the doctor. Bless Dr. Harper. She's like, okay, yeah, just come on in. I'm like, okay. She's like, come on now. I was like, okay. So I rush because she's been working with these issues with our little baby. Long story short, it was not her intestines. The doctor laughed at me.
Oh no.
And we had a good laugh. Apparently, we had this little porcupine. I think it was Samuel's because he was like, maybe he wasn't born yet. Maybe it was Emma's. One of the kids had a little porcupine, little squishy thing that had these like long tentacle things.
Yeah.
She ate one,
Oh,
and it came out, and it was
No.
flesh. It was like pink, fleshy color porcupine.
Do you remember those like stick 'em like
Yeah,
hands?
something like
It was that
Yes.
stuff. Dr. Harper, like
Yeah. Oh,
Dude,
God.
Oh,
Dr.
because that's
Harper
still
It was
attached?
still
still
inside.
tells that story today.
oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The most recent one is she likes to go in her room and hide. And we always know she's doing something when she's hiding. But it's
Praying.
happened like 3 times now. She's,
Oh,
She's
now I know
praying.
you know what I'm
what you're
talking
saying.
about?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
now I know exactly what you're talking
And
about.
so one time it was dish soap. She poured dish soap all over her room, literally every single
Love it.
inch of her room. But I was talking about the most recent one
All
for that.
over
Yes,
the room.
every
Oh, that's
single
awesome.
inch of it.
Whoa.
Like
Dawn dish soap
a whole. She
everywhere.
went. I was putting Hendrix to sleep.
That makes me
And she went
hurt.
in like
Oh.
under the sink in our kitchen and got the bottle and went in her room, closed the door, and poured it. I'm telling y'all, like over her bed, all over our
Oh,
carpet,
no.
every single toy.
How did you clean the
like,
carpet?
We just burned it down.
well,
Had to
you-
have an
The more
insurance
you
claim.
scrub, the more.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Literally, like it was so hard to get it out, but we have like a Bissell crosswave, so I just kept
Oh.
running it
Good
back and
investment.
forth, and
Nice,
yeah,
nice.
it's
Extra clean. Right
Yeah,
there.
Yeah, very good.
it still
Right.
probably
Well,
suds
it's
a little
all
bit.
degreased, yeah.
Yes.
That works.
Yes.
You removed any protective layer on
Yeah.
the carpet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You
It's all
lost your.
trash now.
But when I opened the door, I smelled it like right away, and I was like, "Oh no!" Yeah, it was everywhere,
Oh,
everywhere.
I love that.
That's a good story.
That
Yeah.
hurts.
I forgot about that.
Hurts my heart.
Yeah.
So sorry.
I
Was Joel
thinking
there?
about the poop.
Were you there when
I
it
wasn't
happened?
there. Where was I? Was that a rehearsal?
I think
night
he was
or
at
something?
rehearsal
Perfect.
or something. Yeah.
Perfect.
That's
Yeah.
what
Of
always
course.
happens.
They always
That's
are.
always,
They're gone.
always.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And like, I
Yeah.
can't
She's
come home,
always-
babe. Sorry, I'm in the middle of it.
Always, yep.
Yeah, every
How works
Thursday
it?
there's always some crazy
Yep.
thing. Like every other day will be perfect. But
Yeah.
Thursday, if something's gonna happen, it's gonna be on Thursday.
Always. Like it's been like that for years too.
But
It's
now
crazy.
we know it, so we
Yeah.
just laugh about it. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
you got to.
you have to.
Yep.
If you don't laugh, you'll cry.
It's very
Sometimes we
true.
cry
That's true.
first, but we always try to end with laughter.
That's a good.
While you're
that's a good
laughing.
theory.
Yeah.
Sometimes we throw things. Sometimes we throw our kids. it's just the trampoline, though.
Not
It's
all the
fine.
time.
Yeah.
Surely, surely,
They like it.
Triple.
They do
They
enjoy
do. They
it.
enjoy
They
it.
like
Yes, yes, yes.
You said there was a poop story, though?
Ooh.
It's
Oh.
pretty similar
So
to
take
that.
that same thing.
No.
With the
Take
same
the
kid.
dish soap out.
Same
She
kid.
said, "Man, my
Yes.
room's too
She
clean."
wants to change her pull-up.
Oh,
And
Yeah.
so she's
Oh,
like, I'm
yeah.
just
Did
gonna
the dish
do it.
soap come immediately after that
I
episode?
wish.
Was she
No.
clean?
That would've been
That
flash.
would have been awesome.
No.
Nope. So she's done the poop thing 3 times now.
Oh,
man. She likes to
Yes.
poop.
And I mean, it's like all over the wall, all over the bed, all over the floor, all over her nightstand. Like, it's so bad. And it happened when y'all were out of town like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, no.
And then she did it like twice, I think, since you've been back.
She did it
going through a
once since I've
phase.
been back.
Yeah.
Going through a phase.
And then
But-
she got smacked.
I bet.
It's like, don't do it again.
Yeah. Oof.
Spare the rod. Get
Spoil
poop in
the
your
child.
carpet.
Hey, man.
Hey, man.
Spare the rod, get poop everywhere.
Exactly.